Eyes on Arts and Culture. Arts and Culture.
I'm not gonna lie, if there has been somebody that I've been dying to get on our show, it just happens to be Tarek Fetouh, the director and curator of the performance department at Sharjah Art Foundation, who's gonna be telling us all about this exciting new department that I have to admit has been long awaited from the Sharjah Art Foundation. Welcome to Eyes On, Director.
Thank you very much. I'm really happy to be in your show. Really happy and honored to be in your show today.
Likewise. So let's get right into it. Can you tell us what is the purpose of the performance department?
You know, the performance department from the Sharjah Art Foundation, the foundation was established in 2009. And actually it evolved, it came out of the Sharjah Biennial. That's actually was established in 93. But next year we are celebrating the 30 years of Sharjah Biennial.
Wow.
So yeah, it will be the 15th edition. The Biennial became one of the really top biennials around the world. I think it's one of the top 10 biennials around the world. But anyways, the foundation was established in 2009 to expand on the program, to present to the Sharjah audience exhibitions and programs all year around. And of course, in the biennials, there were always performances. Me, myself, I was one of the curators of the biennial in 2009. It's a long time ago.
Yeah.
And 13 years ago. And actually, I presented lots of performances, and many curators also presented lots of performances. And, the performances, actually, it was really, because it's a foundation that was evolved around the visual art culture somehow. And with the contemporary art, things are mixed somehow. You have, the artists are now mixing between video, performance, theater, and installation art. And it's a really huge step, and I'm honored to direct this new department that's really dedicated for performances, to commission, produce, and present performances to the audiences of Sharjah.
In a way, you just answered one of my other questions, which is how can we define performance art? Because when me, as a regular person, when you say performance art, I say theater, films, and movie. But you just mentioned that they're mixing things together.
Absolutely. I think contemporary artists now really go beyond the boundaries between disciplines somehow. So of course, the theater is a big part of it, contemporary dance is a big part of it, but they are mixing with video, with installation. You have some performances that happen within the exhibition space of one artist. The lecture performance is also a new genre that was really raising in the Arab world a lot. And so it's really mixing everything together somehow. Not everything, but like they have the freedom to move between disciplines somehow. And I have to say that performance also can attract different kind of audience as well.
True.
So they attract the audience who are interested in the visual art, the audience are interested in theater, in the city, etc.
And in a way, basically, this is what defines modern art. We can say that, more or less.
Contemporary art.
Contemporary. I'm sorry, but I took art history a very long time ago, and I forgot most of my words. Now, we already have several Sharjahs, in the Emirate of Sharjah, art performance academies and institutions. So why did we need another one here in Sharjah by the Sharjah Art Foundation?
It's because Sharjah, as a city and as the Emirate, has lots of activities in theater and perform. Now we have the Academy of Performing Arts and many theater festivals. And so I think the department here will be like a meeting place between different genres somehow. And some of the performances we are presenting this year in this year's season, you can call it theater somehow, or partly theater, but it's not pure theater. And you have other things that really goes for the visual artist, like Mitwa Love, the artist we are presenting in December. She's originally, she studied the background. Her background is a visual artist. and she's making performances, but her performances are really touring everywhere. I think she's one of the most touring. She like present performances 200 days per year.
Wow.
Last year, yeah, she is really like one of the. But anyway, so we are presenting like you can say that this program, Perform Sharjah, is in between like all the institutions and in collaboration with many institutions. The Theater Association, we are collaborating with them for some workshops. The Academy, we already did some workshops and lectures, and the audience, actually many of the students are coming as, you know, really they are really looking forward to look at contemporary creations from around the world. So it's, and there's something that defined the programs we are presenting. It's called Perform Sharjah, and that's on purpose because, you know, we really invited the artists to perform in the streets, in the squares, in the old houses, in connection with the people of Sharjah. So they are actually performing Sharjah. So Sharjah is part of the creation process. Sharjah is part of the presentation technique, I would say. Maybe I can explain to you how this can happen. And, you know, it's always the city exists in the creation.
I love that so much because now that you mention it, it genuinely made me like, I got somewhat goosebumps because I love Sharjah. I'm a Sharjah girl. So thinking about it from that point of view and realizing that Sharjah itself is part of the performance, that is incredibly beautiful. And speaking about the inaugural season of the department, we have spoken about it here on iZone. And congratulations, first of all, on the season. And now when I looked through the various performances, I noticed that they're quite diverse and from, like you mentioned, presents contemporary art because there are some interesting things. There's cars involved. The audience is even involved. Can you tell us how did you pick these various performances and decide that this is what's going to be part of the inaugural season?
Yeah, the curatorial technique or strategy, I would say. The curatorial strategy for this year is to present the idea that all the performances are happening in public spaces. You know, and to that Sharjah is part of it, not only as buildings or streets or public places, but also as people. So, for example, the first performance was the Every Brilliant Thing by Ahmed Al-Attar and by the great actress, Syrian actress Nanda Muhammad. The audience are participating in the show. So Nanda asked the audience to participate and even improvise. So the performance was not only Nanda, but also Nanda and at least 20, 30 people from Sharjah, from the audience who actually participated. It was a performance in Arabic without subtitles, unfortunately, because of course it's improvisation, so we cannot, you can never translate it. And the second performance was Jo Neama, who's Lebanese artist, who presented with the car's owner, who adapted the cars with huge sound speakers, and they are all from also the city. So Joe was facilitating and putting his soundtrack within the cars. So he, in a way, he connected all the cars together, and he created a huge sonic system, sound system, in the Rolla Square. With in between, you know, Rolla Square was really like, it's an iconic place that's in the center.
Definitely is.
And then the third performance we presented was Remote Sharjah. And Remote Sharjah is a performance for 2 hours that is walking in the city, and the people are, the audience are walking. So they have headphones, and then there is a kind of computer-generated voice that guide them into different locations, outdoor and indoor. And then they imagine and they see the city in a completely different way. So, so these are all performances that are you know, the choices are really making sure that the Sharjah is part of the performance somehow. Either audience or buildings or.
honestly, again, I'm seriously loving your explanation because now that I'm speaking to the person who would be considered the heart of the inaugural season and the performance department, I'm understanding more and more, and like I'm understanding your vision deeply, and I'm loving it very much. But I noticed something, and that
Tell
with
me.
the exception of only the Every Brilliant Thing by Ahmed Al Attar, it was the only performance, or let's say performance art or theater, that was from the Arab region. So will we be seeing more Arab and Emirati led and original performances in the future?
Of course, but let me correct something. There are two.
Oh, go ahead.
Two
Go
out
ahead.
of five.
Yes.
So
Two
the
out of
Joe
five.
Nema,
Yes.
Joe Nema is actually Lebanese.
Yes.
So Joe is Joseph, Yusuf.
Yes.
Yeah, so Joe Nema is Lebanese, and Ahmad is Egyptian, Nanda is Syrian, the actress. So there are two out of the five performances are actually from the Arab world, and then we have one from Brazil, and the other company is from Belgium and Germany. So it's in a way, this first season is only composed of five performances that are presented for 17 evenings, during a season. But of course, maybe next year when we start to talk, when we talk about the new program, because we started to commission also now already artists from Morocco. I cannot say the names. Artists from Morocco, artists from Lebanon, and artists from the UAE, of course, and artists from Kuwait. So, but we, maybe later we can announce the names of the artists once, we announce the new program of 23-24.
I'm very excited for that. And honestly, I did not doubt for a moment that we will be having more of these performances, but I was just wondering, like, when are they coming? But you did mention they're going to be coming very, very soon. And there is this sort of discussion that we hear amongst ourselves as Arabs or people from this area, like in the MENA region. And also when back in the Sharjah International Book Fair and even Children's Reading Festival, all these various festivals, when they brought together these, even the Sharjah platform, film platform, I remember this conversation and basically word or sentence repeated more than once. And that is, can we ever reach the same level and realm of Hollywood and Bollywood? Because yes, the Arab theater existed, and even Arab movies, Arab films, basically Arab performance art existed since God knows when, for centuries. But we have basically went into film. We have amazing actors and actresses in all the region. But how come we're still, I don't want to say behind, we're not behind, but how come we're not that popular?
As a performance, I mean, the Hollywood, Bollywood, that's the cinema. That's a completely different industry somehow.
Yeah.
Right? But it was...
we can even say maybe Broadway as well, because Broadway is Broadway and West End is West End. Everybody says, oh, we're excited to watch a musical in Broadway and West End. But I don't hear that of somebody from outside saying, let's come to the UAE, let's come to Saudi Arabia, let's come to Egypt to watch and listen to these various performances.
But look, I think we also, like the last, let's say the last decades, we were also building institutions that can help and promote artists from the region. But we have to, let me tell you things about the visual art, domain somehow. Because in 2007, 2008, I think 2007, so the Golden Line in Venice Biennial was won by a Palestinian artist, Emily Jasser. This year, it was Ali Shiri got the Silver Lion, who's from Lebanon. And we got also the Hassan Khan from Egypt, also got in 2013, I think. So there are actually artists on top of the game somehow. So we came, from the MENA region.
Yeah.
But let me tell you something like, the great artist Hassan Sharif, the great Emirati artist Hassan Sharif. I was always wondering, because his work is very similar to Mona Hatoum, the also great Lebanese Palestinian artist, but she's very, very well known abroad because she was, she lived in London. But their
Yeah.
work when they were students, it's equally and really similar and equally fantastic. So it's also, but it was the time. We were building institutions. We were building the understanding of the contemporary culture somehow. So I think everything comes, at the right time somehow. And I have lots of hopes. But let me tell you something about the MENA region, etc. Something personal. Can I tell you a story?
Yes, please
So
go
when
ahead.
I was invited in 2008 to be one of the curators for the biennial, before that I was always working in the Arab world and in Europe, and I didn't really think of other regions somehow. But once I arrived to Sharjah, and this is why I really love Sharjah, because it changed my perspective somehow. I started immediately to see India, Pakistan, Iran, Indonesia. It's my place because it's an Arabic country. Of course, I speak the language. We know the codes. I know the history, etc. But then I started to see the world differently, and this changed my life. It changed my life, how I think about arts and about culture production and about art production, about the contemporary intellectual life. And this is also something really, really special in Sharjah, I have to say.
Absolutely. And I actually, funny enough, even though I was born here and raised here, I kind of went through the same journey through the Sharjah Art Foundation when I visited Pop South Asia not too long ago to cover it.
Yeah.
And even though I'm aware of it, because in my school days, when I was in middle school, kindergarten, all these years, I was intermingled with a multicultural, international group of people. So you know what they're about and you know their ideas. But when you sit there and watch it from their literal perspective in various artistic forms and styles, then it kind of happens like your eyes become widened and you understand more of their perspective and understanding. So I went through a similar journey not too long ago, so I understand you fully. And although you kind of touched upon it a little bit, but as the director and senior curator, what do you want to, as an outcome from this department in the future? What do you expect out of it?
I really am wishing for producing great work in the city, in the public spaces with lots of, and also to build the audience somehow, to have a diversity of audience and to have a connection. I think my job is, when I see a performance somewhere else in the world, and then I feel like I really want the audience to see it, the audience in Sharjah to see it. Or I want the audience to Sharjah to experience this performance. And this is really how I enjoy my job as well, because I imagine it and I present it, and then I see the reaction of the people. And I also would like to commission the artist to create new works. This is really the aim somehow. We are commissioning many artists for 23 and 24, mainly for 24 as well. And I would like to share with the audience the risk of commissions as well. When you commission artists, you risk it because it either come, So I want the audience to be part of this process and part of this ideas and to explore with me and with the foundation what the artists are proposing in the city.
It makes a lot of sense because it's a two-way street, and you are trying to build upon a culture that already exists, but you want to make it greater. And again, what they say in Arabic, إلى النجومية, hopefully, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. And now let's trail back a little bit and let's talk about the department itself. Now, we know what your mission is, but in terms of the technicalities, do you guys have specific sections, specific departments within the department, for example?
The department, you mean within the foundation?
Yes.
Or how the people can reach?
Yes, how they can reach it, but also as in, for example, let's say there is like with the various departments within the department, is there a visual performance department? Is there some sort of other department? Or is it just one umbrella, the department and their curators and people who join in?
one department, but we have a strong production team because what we aim at is producing. We are aiming at producing new works. So of course we are building slowly, and also we have an architect who joined us, and the architect will work with us on developing temporary structures that can host performances in the public spaces. So that's, slowly we are going into creating the performances in different places. We create temporary spaces, but we also use old houses in addition to the streets and the squares, etc. And so these are the focus somehow, but we are not defined. We are not like having one theater, one dance, one, section somehow. No, we as the artists are now moving in a free way between all these disciplines. We are also in the department, we are super open. Of course, the audience can always check our website, sharjahart.org, and they can see the programs and what's on. Normally, now we are doing kind of season that started in November and it ends in January because we have the biennial in February, of course. But next year it will go on till March, and it can start even earlier in September.
That's exciting news. And I believe that there probably are many excited performance artists here in the UAE and even beyond that. And you kind of mentioned it by question. You actually kind of use the question yourself. And that is, how can somebody join the department? Or is it like, can they say, hi, I have an idea and I want to present it? Or maybe they want to say, I want to learn. How can I learn from other visual artists and visual performers?
We are there around, we are always there. So the people, of course, can reach us through the website, and they can send ideas, projects, whatever they want. And they can also see us during the performances, so we are there in the street. We can, the people can see us in Rolla Square, when we were there, or in Shamsi next month, or they can come to remote Sharjah because this is exceptional performance. They will come to see the city completely in a different way, but also they can meet us before, after, we will always be there. So we are totally open to, to receive ideas from artists. And we will be announcing a bit the educational program starting next year. This year we did really a small program with the Academy, Sharjah Performing Arts Academy, but next year it will be more open for also people to join acting workshops, scenography workshops, etc.
I love that very much, because what you're saying is that we are approachable and you are welcome to come and share your ideas. And I think that is super important when you think of an industry that some people might regard as hard to break through into, and sometimes the platforms are gatekept by people. But having people like you and just the department as a whole, basically welcoming all kinds of artists, I am loving it very, very much. And sort of our final question to you, Director Tarek Fetouh. As a director, as an artist, as a curator, what can you tell aspiring performance artists, whether they're whatever type of performance artists, filmmakers, actors, dancers, theater directors, what can you tell them if they're new to the arena, maybe too scared to go further or delve further? What can you tell them?
Trust yourself, study more, look at colleagues from around the world, look at colleagues also not necessarily from the West, but also look at colleagues from India, from Egypt, from Morocco, from Indonesia, from China. I think that's really important, that people think in a global way somehow, and it's not a kind of bilateral things, but they can open the horizon. The world is so big, and it's really, and not to give up at all, because the doors can open anytime. So they can always continue to work and study and research.
What you said about that not being just a bilateral thing, but more of a global thing is absolutely true, especially in our world now that is super connected culturally through the internet, through various performances, various projects, festivals, and institutions. That is absolutely true, but because we were born into it as millennials or Gen Z, we kind of take it for granted and we're like, oh, that's just normal. But then when we, like you said, when we actually take a moment, step back, self-reflect, and we go like, yes, maybe perhaps it's time for me to take a remove or actually get a magnifying glass and look at the various nations, various groups, various cultures and see what they have to offer. But thank you so much, Director, for your time and for sharing these amazing, wonderful words about the performance department by the Sharjah Art Foundation. And we cannot wait to talk to you soon during the next season, perhaps, so you can give us all the thorough details just like you did right now.
Thank you very much. I'm really happy and honored to be in this show. I really like it and I'm delighted. Thank you very much, Aisha.
Likewise, we look forward to talking to you soon, Director Tarek.
Thank you.
And there you go, everyone. That was Director and Senior Curator of the Performance Department at Sharjah Art Foundation, Tarek Abou Fetouh. It was a wonderful chat, I'm not going to lie to you. But if you missed out on it, do not worry. We're going to be uploading it onto our podcast and you can listen to the entire thing. A quick break and then we're going to be talking a lot more about Sharjah and even the Emirate of Dubai, especially with a Pakistani resident who went viral for controlling traffic and was then honored by Dubai police. Coming up next right here on Eyes On.